On November 21st, I was born along my twin sister, and as far as I can say, my childhood was quite enjoyable. I felt normal emotions that every child felt happy, sad, angry, shy, mad, etc. As I went through school, I made a lot of friends, learned a lot, and prioritized my grades and education. My parents were hardworking people, and so I didn't want to disappoint them in any way. They sacrificed a lot to raise my siblings and I with the challenges of being immigrants. My family came to Canada when I was 4 years old, and the only way I felt like I could repay them was to live up to everyone's academic expectations and let report card marks define my intelligence. However, school started becoming a big priority in my life. I was prone to the comparison with my twin sister and even other extended family members, such as cousins. I was constantly compared for my weight, my looks, my hair, my height, and obviously my marks. Comparisons consequently lead to self hatred. Although I was being stressed about being compared to other people and seeking approval from others, I genuinely enjoyed school. School was the place where I could escape mentally because I depended on my friends to distract me from the negative thoughts. School was a sanctuary that kept me going because of the liveliness it provided. Having a group of friends provided me with a great support group to let go of some of the stresses in my life. However, things took a turn when last year middle school ended. With middle school ending, I had to embark on a whole new academic journey. However, I was excited to go to high school. I got to meet new people, learn the perks of being a teenager, and even develop some skills that could be beneficial when exposed to the real world. At this specific time, happiness was not a priority. Marks and approval from others were. I was living to satisfy everyone but myself. I started experiencing anxiety when it came to school and the pressures from societal standards, such as trying to appeal to others, not just looks wise, but also with my personality. I seeked acceptance from everyone. I failed to realize that self acceptance was more pivotal than acceptance from others. As a human, you would think this feeling would fade away after a couple of days, but this negative aura that I was producing continued to linger for days to weeks to months and even years. I was a prisoner of my own thoughts, held captive with no one to tell. Because of my fear of judgment, I never reached out for help. I never asked for help from guidance counselors, teachers, families, friends, etc. Inevitably, I began to suffer, and it came to like a breaking point at school where it resulted in me breaking down in math class in front of everyone. I was so ashamed. I was left alone to confront my own emotional and mental health issues because mental health issues were taboo in my culture that I was raised in. I was raised in a Caribbean culture that highlights the festival and clothing and other positive aspects. However, when it came to mental health issues, you were treated less than a human. People were shamed for discussing, and if you did suffer from mental health issues, you were portrayed as ungrateful, and I started isolating myself and lost interest in things I enjoyed, such as cooking. Then came my sweet 16. Obviously, I was excited for the night. It would be one of the most memorable events to ever occur in my life. However, that night, everything that could have went wrong. My sister fainted in front of everyone and I had a panic attack. More than 200 people witnessed it. Moreover, the calamity caused my family to panic and bicker each other. Bearing this untold story is the greatest barrier I face till this day. Not a day goes by where I don't relive that memory. Anything triggers me on a daily basis to get flashbacks of that whole panic attack. That night changed everything. I kept getting flashbacks of everything that happened. It did not seem to go away. Even forgetting about it was such a difficult task, and I dwelled on it, and I still do. I let it control how the rest of my days look like. However, I came to school and I was surrounded by friends, teachers, and activities to keep me busy. For once, I felt like I had something in my life that I can actually control. However, when coronavirus hit, stress levels and anxiety went up. This was something out of my control, and that bothered me tremendously. When schools closed, I could not see my friends, keep busy, or have the routine I had. The one thing that I used as an escape was taken away from me, which was school and friends. Spending days and nights left home alone to get more flashbacks tonight. Because of that night, I no longer want to celebrate my birthday. I keep reliving that trauma every day. A day won't pass by when those thoughts don't haunt me. It dictated my happiness, and without an escape, the lockdown allowed my biggest fear to come alive, which would be left home alone with my thoughts as they consumed every part of me. As a result, after being left home alone for 6 months, that negative feeling and flashbacks began to eat me alive. I was in desperate need of company, but due to the pandemic, I did not leave my house to meet anyone. As days went by, I was consumed by sadness and regret. I was in the same place I was when I started high school. I was deprived of comfort and happiness. It pained me that the one last thing I relied on to eliminate my stress was taken away. I was frustrated that my friends in school could no longer be accessible. The uncertainty of my future created even greater distress and mental distress that I had to face alone. The littlest things that I liked to enjoy no longer brought me joy, but instead despair. Everything I would do and everything I saw would just be related to Corona. As I saw the cases rise up, it would trigger me and give me a negative reminder that there was no hope to return to school with the same environment that helped me dismantle my emotional barriers. When school started in September, I began to recover. It wasn't the normal school I enjoyed, obviously, but it was the start to recovering from stress and traumatic flashbacks. It felt great to have a routine again, although I did not have the same support group I usually had at school. However, with this challenge I face, I must not allow my mental health issues to be challenged by negative taboos revolving it. Thus, I must reach out for help. I have not done so yet, but in the future I intend to find appropriate coping methods for these type of barriers. My past coping methods were not beneficial as they resulted in short-term effects. I must wake up every morning and try to let go of the past. The flashbacks that I get are the very own demons that I must defeat. This perpetual cycle of living with a negative mindset and trauma cannot consume me. I have to live a happy life, not for anyone but for myself. I don't want to continue to fall victim to trauma and misery. There are days where I must put on a fake smile. For the truth to be told, it does bother me that things will never be the same because of the pandemic and that I have lost the support group at school I needed. I was addicted to escaping reality at school. I was losing passion in things that brought me joy and instead coping with my issues by staying in bed and thinking about it. However, these circumstances change and shape our views on other topics. As of now, I am more open to conversations about mental health. The circumstances that I continue to fight to this day has helped me to recognize that one must prioritize their mental health to lead a better quality of life. At the end of the day, emotional mental struggles don't mean you're weak. It means you're human.